Better than Christmas. Oh, hey, hi, I'm Jalen Johnston. Welcome to day 15 of VEDA 2015, vlogging every day in April. How's it going, guys? Happy tax day. Happy taxing day. It's the deadline. Hope you filed if you owe. If you don't owe, not that big of a deal. There's no penalty for filing late. Anyway, speaking of taxing, I've got a little story about a neighbor. My next door neighbor. So here's how I first met my next door neighbor. It's moving day. I'm moving in. I got my family, I got some friends. We've all got cars full of stuff. We park as close to the house as we can, and we're just carrying armloads and armloads and armloads, right? And this woman runs out when I've got an armload full of stuff and I'm walking back towards my house. And she says, "Hi, we live here. Can you not park in front of our house, please?" To which I literally said, "Hi, I just am moving in. You see me with my arms full of items that if you'd like to help me carry, that'd be awesome. Clearly, I would have preferred to park closer to my own house. So apparently we're going to be neighbors?" She says, "Yeah, you know, we have an agreement with your landlord that that no one's going to park in front of our house." And I went, "Well, that's great. I'm not my landlord, and frankly, it's a public street. You can't, like, assign parking spaces. But I tell you what, like I said, I would rather park in front of my own house. It's closer, but I'm moving in. I can't believe that this is how you're introducing yourself to me as my new neighbor. You're miserable." And I kept on loading my stuff in. Unloaded that car first, and then pretty deliberately left it parked exactly where it was, right? Now, because what I had just said to the lady held true, I never park in front of their house because I park in front of my house if I can, right? Well, apparently, she had a husband who was away on work, and when he is home, he's got this huge work truck with a huge trailer that he has no place to park except anywhere on the street that he prefers, right? So there's parking directly across the street from my house and all the houses on the block. There's apartments across the way, but none of the entrances or none of them, nothing faces the street. So that entire street, that entire side of the street has like no houses there. It's entirely open, wide open for parking, totally no big deal. So, you know, if someone's parked in front of my house, so I flip a U-turn and I park on the other side of the street and I just walk maybe 20 more feet to get to my house. Not a big deal, right? So anyway, nothing really happened from that except for just me chuckling about what a terrible neighbor, what a terrible way for a neighbor to introduce themselves that was. Well, then her husband got back from wherever he was. There were some rumors that it was jail time. There were because there often were reports of very loud arguing, and there was like a real big knockdown, drag-out fight between him and some other guy in that house, right? And then all of a sudden he was gone for a while. So I don't know if he went and deliberately took a job out of the area, or if he actually did get sent to jail for a while. But anyway, he came back, and with him came all of this stuff, right? So public street, park where you want. Plenty of parking in the neighborhood, not that big of a deal, right? But when it became a big deal to me was a night that my girlfriend came to visit me. She lives down in LA, and she had just driven about 4.5 hours to come and visit me. And she parked, she came up, you know, gave her a couple hugs and kisses, and then we had plans to go out to get some food. So went back down to her car, maybe about 20 minutes later, after she'd parked, and she was ahead of me a little bit, and I was still on the porch, probably locking the door or something, and I hear somebody start yelling at my girlfriend. okay, hold on, fight or flight, what's going on? Don't yell at my girlfriend. Don't do that, right? And it turns out it's this guy, it's my next door neighbor, and he's sitting in the darkness on his porch, smoking a cigarette, and yelling at my girlfriend for parking in front of his house. And he's sitting there, hey, why don't you park in front of your own house? And one of the things I love about my girlfriend is that she's a total wise ass. So I believe she responded with something like, because I live in Long Beach, and if I parked in front of my house, I wouldn't be able to visit, right? But he keeps on, leave some room for the rest of us. Geez, worst neighbors ever. Like, just totally yelling for no stupid reason. So I stopped and I'm looking, and the whole street's wide open, and it's not like he had been looking for parking and couldn't park close to his own house, anything like that. Like, no big deal, wide open street. So I said, looks like there's plenty of parking on the street, man, nothing to get worried about. Nothing to get worried about. You're being real neighborly right now. Yeah, what are you doing? Blah, 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 blah. So we went, got some food, came back. Anyway, he set me off at that point. At that point, if you're gonna go crazy about someone parking 5 feet in front of your house and yell at my girlfriend about it, so I talked to my landlords, and they actually said, no, there was never any agreement that we made. Those people are psycho. By the way, the same guy yelled at my mother, she says. My mother, mid-60s woman, getting out of her car, which wasn't even parked entirely in front of their house, but just like, partially. And he yelled at her, told her to park in front of her own damn place. Like, incredible, this old man get off my lawn mentality, right? So, at that point, I said, okay, well, if he wants to be a stickler about where the property line is and lay claim to it, then I'm just going to park right at the property line, like within inches, so that I've got, as much claim to the front of my house as possible. Now, this works out pretty well for me because I have 2 motorcycles that I keep in the garage, and the car is always parked on the street, pretty much. So like 4 days of the week, I'm commuting on my motorcycle, and the car just stays there. So this guy, the reason he's such a stickler about parking is because he has so many cars and so many trailers and so many things that he needs to find a place to put. Well, that's great, but it's also not anyone's problem. It's not the public's problem to make sure that he has a place to park all of his vehicles. He lives in that house with his wife, who has a car. He has a car. He lives with his adult daughter, who has a car, and her boyfriend also lives there. He has his own car. He also has his work trailer. I'm running out of fingers here. He has a boat that's on a trailer, and he has a couple of motorcycles, which apparently are in the garage with whatever workshop stuff, So this is a very small 2-bedroom house that's next door to me, and clearly there is not a big enough garage or a long enough driveway to accommodate all of these vehicles in this place that he's renting. So because of that, it's become the neighborhood's problem to make sure he has enough parking right in front of his house. So when he parks his truck with his trailer in front of his own house, it is so long that the trailer actually crosses over about 5 feet in front of my house. Again, no big deal. I'll just park behind the dang trailer. Until, apparently, the butt end of my station wagon is blocking my mailbox when he's parked there. So I got tags on my car from the U.S. Postal Service saying, I can't park there because it's blocking my mailbox. And if I park there, they will stop delivering the mail. So now it's suddenly become my problem that this guy has no parking, right? So, like I said, I tend to just pull my car right up to the property line, leave it there. When I do that, he can't park his trailer where he wants to because it's not enough room. Ironically, he can't park his trailer in front of his own house without borrowing a whole bunch of space in front of my house. Borrowing is bullshit because it's not my space to begin with, right? So, anyway, I get back today after taking my car for the first time in a while. And he has apparently noticed that I have been deliberately parking directly at the property line. Great, good. He probably should know that there's a reason people are reacting negatively to him, right? But what he has started doing now is deliberately backing his own truck up so that the entire length of his trailer is in front of my house, which then leaves no room before the driveway for any cars to park either. So basically he's taking up the space in front of two houses. Again, public street, not a crime, not a big deal. But when you're the guy that yells at the entire neighborhood about not parking in front of your house, and then you do that to other people, it's just a perfect, perfect recipe for your neighbors getting vindictive about it. So anyway, he leaves for work much earlier than I do in the morning. He gets back earlier than I do as well. So when he leaves in the morning, I just pull my car right into the spot and then leave it there and go take a motorcycle to work. That's the plan. And that's going to be the way. We'll see if anything ever happens with this. I mean, I don't expect any sort of confrontation over it. I just think the whole thing's silly, and it's kind of entertaining to deliberately make his life a little bit harder because he thinks he owns the street in front of his house. So, but in reality, if he parks in front of my house, whatever, I don't care. Flip a bitch, park on the other side of the street. No big deal. Just chuckles, all chuckles. I will care if you start yelling at my girlfriend and start being an ass to her. So, yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how this develops. The whole thing's just kind of entertaining to me in many frustrating and hypocritical ways, right? This is a long vlog. Thanks for sticking with it. I'm starting to get a little bit of a weird sinusy thing going on. Not really feeling all that hot, so I'm going to hit the hay. See if I can get some good sleep, heal up a little bit from whatever this thing is that's trying to get me. It's trying to get me. Anyway, bug you tomorrow. Happy VEDA. Okay, bye.